Hi, I'm Will Cliff, Head of Elite Sport at Franklyn. Welcome to our Behind the Curtains podcast. Welcome to a festive edition of Behind the Curtains podcast. Today we're joined by two very special guests, so do enjoy Christmas with the Currys. Tom, Ben, thanks for joining us. How are you?
Yeah, a bit sore. Played, 2 days ago, so kind of still in the recovery phase, but yeah, all good.
Yeah, all good here.
Fit, ready to go?
Yeah, we've got an exciting festive period of games, so no, it should be good.
Great, and obviously you mentioned the festive period of games. It is Christmas time. Most of us are winding down. You boys play on the 26th, but can you relax a little bit usually around Christmas? Do you get a bit of time with family to switch off?
To be fair, it changes each year, doesn't it? So I think last year we were quite lucky we had Christmas. Well, I think you always get Christmas Day, and then usually it's kind of either Boxing Day or Christmas Eve. I think this year we've got Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off, so yeah, a whole 2 days. So we're very lucky this year.
Yeah, you just adjust your festive period. Like we play on the 26th, you don't have a big Christmas, but like I'm having Ben and his girlfriend, sister, her fiance, and parents over on the 27th. So that will be kind of our sort of Christmas-ish or Christmas celebrations. So you just have to adjust, but it's all right. You usually get one or the other, like that or New Year's.
Okay, so you're hosting?
I am, first time.
Are you cooking?
We're cooking something. I'm not sure yet. I say we're cooking. We're cooking. But yeah, no. Hopefully it'll be. I'm not like festive dinner status yet, but like we'll get something going. There'll be more.
Not really advertising for us to come.
No, we did a poster and everything. We did a poster and everything for the WhatsApp group. So no, it should be good. We're excited. So
good. Well, listen, mate, you've got a lot to live up to because Ben was telling me before you got here that he has got you a mega Christmas present. So, what have you got him? Who's easier to buy for?
To be fair, Ben's basically done it himself. He's basically gone full interior designer mode. So you can get anything with patterns, like you see his curtains or his lampshades. Anything with like a floral, feminine pattern, I think will go down pretty well.
So you haven't got him anything yet?
Not yet. It's still in the pipeline. But yeah, we're working on it.
Okay, so we're working on the food. We're working on the presents.
Yeah.
Have you decorated?
Yeah. We actually have got a good Christmas tree.
Got a rug.
And a rug?
You?
What do you mean?
I thought you decorated the house. Oh, you talk about
Yeah,
Christmas?
I talk about the tree. We got.
Oh right.
We got these
Christmas.
little sister sent us these sausage dog little what do you call them? They just hang on the tree. So it's basically a Christmas tree covered in sausage dogs. So that's about as far as we got.
Sounds like a fantastic Christmas in the Currys, doesn't it?
Does sound a bit weird, doesn't it?
Right, great. Well, let's move on. Lads, let's talk about your careers. And I want to go back a little bit. I say the early days, but not really the early days. Because we know the crew in Nantwich bit, we know that side. But you joined Sale, you signed that first contract, and things happened very, very quickly for you, lads. So what was that like, just starting in the academy, like any other academy lad, I guess, and all of a sudden being elevated to that first team almost immediately?
Yeah,
It was weird. It all just happened and kind of felt like it flowed, in that when you first game you go on loan. So we were on loan with Sale FC. For a good 6 to 8 games, so like a good few months. Kind of felt like that was a step up, and then played Prem Cup, played a few games in that, and then you played in Europe. And things just kind of rolled very quickly, and you almost didn't have time to kind of think about it. It's kind of like, right, especially at that age where everything's new to you, so you're just like, oh, right, I'm playing this game, I'm playing for Sale FC, the next week you're playing for Sale in the Prem Cup, which is kind of like for people who don't know, the level down, and then you play Prem, then you play in Europe, so it kind of just like, you don't really have any time to think about it. You just kind of just play the next game and try not to play badly and try to stay in the team.
Yeah. And a lot of young players coming through, you know, there's older guys in that position, and sometimes you're waiting for an injury. Was that the case for you guys? Was there an injury and an opportunity to impress, or was it just a case of, you know, you would come in and train well and it was a gradual progression?
No, it was definitely, we were kind of short, you remember, the short and back rows anyway. So we had obviously Cam, then I think it was TJ Ioane, he was obviously Dave Seymour, but I remember it was him that went down, and that gave me my opportunity. And you know how Dimes was back in the day in terms of, we relied so heavily on the academy, young lads stepping up, just coming through. So even when we joined, kind of people even like 2 or 3 years above were pretty centred in the team anyway. So it's kind of a normal thing to kind of just be like, oh, there you go, there's your opportunity. So we were surrounded by great people. I remember James Mitchell. Before I remember the team was announced, we went out to train at the old Carrington, and he just put his arm around me and was like, honestly, like you're going to smash it. And he just gave me a load of confidence, basically. I remember thinking, like, this is what a team to be a part of, and what an exciting time to be supported by, young lads who have also done the same thing.
Absolutely, and then that sort of also then continued. It didn't just end with Sale. Then you got called into the England setup, and how much of a step up was that at that sort of age?
That was crazy.
That was probably the biggest step up I think I've ever had in terms of rugby sense, even because obviously I had a few years out and then went back, and it kind of didn't feel like that much of a step up. I think for touring, especially with kind of the group of senior players, it was definitely like an eye opener in terms of like the professionality. I think obviously with Eddie Jones kind of being the head figure of that one, he was quite an intense bloke. I think it created a lot of intensity around the environment, with obviously the staff, the players. So especially as an 18-year-old going into that, it definitely threw you in the deep end.
Yeah.
Especially also with the way Sale trained as well, like Dines, we were pretty relaxed. Like even like, yeah, but that's kind of like the pretty obvious word to use. But now at Sale, like you train like on a Tuesday, like parts of training are meant to go above match intensity. At Sale, I don't think we ever trained to match intensity. Yeah. So then going from that to England, where you get like this literally match intensity, or at least
like
match
2 games a week.
Yeah, it's almost match speed every session. Even the short sessions are match speed. Which at 18, I got a back spasm in in the 5th week. So yeah, that took a lot of growing up as well.
Yeah, 18, going from training with your school to then training with a sort of second string Premiership team to then a first team Premiership side to an England team all in the space of a year. It's a bit of a change, I can imagine. So it leads quite nicely on to my next question, which was, a lot of time has passed since then. And how do you feel the game has changed and developed? And alongside that, I guess you as players to this point?
It's actually mad. Like you just look at the rule changes and what's happened from when we were 18 to now. So within 8-9 years, the rule changes around the game have just sculpted a totally different landscape insofar as breakdown. Like before, when we started, you could put your hands on the ball and scoot back.
You could just stand up. The year before we joined, you could just stand up and just pick the ball up.
You
Whereas now you had to, that was a big one, you had to go round. Yeah,
you got that. You look at how the aerial contest, even in the last 12 months, the aerial contest, how you can't really block anymore. So that's creating a lot more unstructured, a lot more kind of, I guess, collisions in the air, a lot more balls on the floor. So it's changed so much in that regard, and especially around what I said around the breakdown, people coming off feet, you're not allowed to roll, and it makes you think a lot more. I think that's where I'm getting to with all this. Everything's very technical. Every sort of breakdown, every tackle, every carry, it has its own rule set with it now. That is so reffed so hardly. A, because I think the refs they're looking out for it a lot more. B, just the TMO stuff. You can do something and then 2 minutes later, they won't get a call. they'll get a thing on the mic and they go back and check it. So everything is so black and white now. You have to be kind of perfect with everything. So tackling, breakdown, and it leads you to thinking a lot more and being a lot more technical things. You can't just rely on pure emotion. And I think that's where, obviously, I think we as players were really good at the start in terms of you could just let us off and you just go. But now you don't have to slow down, but you have to think about it, and you can't react with as much raw emotion. But I think that's the beauty of sport. It's like where you get the balance between kind of going off instinct, going off emotion, going off pure, just like what you're used to now where you have to introduce these rules and you have to update yourself, you have to upskill yourself to keep up with the game. And doing all that whilst being faster, fitter, stronger, clearer than people. I think it's got to a point now where I wouldn't say it's a different game, but the landscape is definitely changed.
I think it's exciting in terms of it's like, what are we in our 8th, 9th season now? Yeah. Whereas like you wouldn't want it to be the same. Like I think that is kind of, a lot of people complain about like things change in rugby. Obviously you don't want the big change, but like it makes the players evolve. Like especially this new like the kind of the mindset around attack right now I think is really exciting. Like we're getting encouraged as forwards to get ball and hand play. Like it's encouraged in forwards at the moment, and it makes you get better yourself. Like it adds another string to your bow. You have to start thinking about things. It's not just like, right, as a back row, I've just got to tackle, breakdown. Like you actually have license to explore that in your game.
Well, there's a lot of chat, isn't there, about back rowers being able to play in the centre or on the wing and in multiple positions.
Or 9.
Or 9.
Yeah, that made COVID interesting. There's footage somewhere out there. I don't have it. But I think Eddie and Simon Amor was the attack coach at the time. They have footage of me doing scrum half drills with my sister and my mum in the garden.
Yeah, it's like diving, like throwing balls left, right, and centre. I'm just like that.
She wasn't. They were all
on the money. Yeah. I remember those days. Well, let's talk about you as people then, because like I know what you're like, and you like to have a laugh. You've got a bit of personality. You're not awkward in the slightest.
2 truths, 1 lie.
But you do like to have a bit of fun. But also, in that professional environment, I think you're very professional at what you do. You're very focused. You're leaders within the team. How do you get that balance right, actually, of, being young lads and having that personality, but also in sport, you have to mature quickly, don't you?
Yeah, I think definitely, and I hate this word because I don't think you have to make mistakes to learn, because that just makes people want to make mistakes, doesn't it? But having said that, you feel like, I feel like over the years I've definitely got things wrong as far as you try and learn off different people and pick things up. And, when it was kind of Eddie and Owen, you pick up a very serious side, and it was very, walkthroughs, even walkthroughs, like at the breakdown, you have to be at the low body height, you have to have your heads up, and they'd call you out for that. And then it would almost kind of fester within yourself. Like you would take that back to the club, and everything would feel very angry and but very intense and serious. Like everything was like that. And you probably realise you get to a stage where it's probably, it's not sustainable. And when you actually have a look back, you're like, am I actually enjoying this, or am I just doing what I think is right, or doing what I think is right? And then I don't know what moment it is, but you start to kind of you add your own personality to things, rather than just like doing or thinking what you think people want from you. And I don't know what age it changes for different people, different environments, but I'd say you have to. This is what I think experience counts a lot for, is you have a chance to learn, you have a chance to test yourself, and actually you reflect and you're like, actually, that isn't for me, or I didn't like who I was or how I was. And then you get to a point where, you're probably still not getting things right, but you can learn, and hopefully the biggest thing you can do from that is actually not teach, but instill that in others, and hopefully they'll learn from that a bit quicker than you, and hopefully they'll have a more accelerating curve than you in terms of learning, and get to a point quicker than what you got to. I think that's the beauty of a team sport in rugby anyway.
Yeah, I remember us talking about this sort of spectrum of challenge and support, and you guys like burst onto the scene, had so much success, but were so serious to an extent that everything was challenge. You expected everyone to be as good as you, to achieve, to train as hard as you. And I feel like as you got a bit older, perhaps whether I'm right or wrong in saying this, you found a more middle ground of actually, you led by example, but you understood some people needed a bit more of the support as much as the challenge. And obviously for you, Ben, you then went on to captain Sale. Do you think that played a part, having that bit more empathy in people's personalities?
I think now I'm on the other side of it, yes. I think my 2 years in captain, I think like Tom said, it's like that sometimes, especially myself, you find, right, what do I actually think versus like what does everyone else want me to be? And you start like overthinking, like, for example, if there is a walkthrough and people are pissing around, and like let's say you've lost at the weekend, like you start thinking like, what does this, not just in terms of the detail and the technical aspect of what that walkthrough is, something as simple as walkthrough, but like what's the attitudes of people watching, like what are they thinking, what like are they learning, so the team can be right for the weekend. It's actually like sometimes you do end up overthinking it, and that's the beauty of it now. Like coming out on the other side, you can kind of see that actually it doesn't like seeing Ernie do it. Ernie's unbelievable, I think, and seeing him do it is actually like you can do it and be relaxed. You don't have to try and control everything, which is something you probably pick up from an early age, like when you like Eddie, etc. I'm not trying to bang him, but you learn. You're quite impressionable. You learn these things. And you think, oh, right, that must be like there in England. That must be the way it has to be done. And like I said, it takes experience. Takes a bit of actually, I did get that wrong to kind of learn that, and that's beautiful now, where you kind of experience gives you that. But I think sometimes you do have to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And how much do you think having each other to have these sorts of conversations and push each other, but learn from each other and those experiences, does that make a difference? Does that make you guys better as players, do you think?
Well, I definitely think we definitely challenge each other more than we would anyone else, because it's like that. Everyone wants to get to that point. What you're saying in terms of challenge and support, and you get to know someone so well so that you can, properly challenge them. Not just, someone you don't know. You can't. You go, oh, I think you can pass it. Whereas it's me and Ben. It's like, nah, that ball needs to be here. Not like, oh, I think it can be. So I think that's the beauty of our relationship is we can actually challenge each other, and it's not. I wouldn't say it's that personal. So you can actually,
Ben that looks sure.
No, but you can actually have like genuine chats and like sort things out right at the court, especially around the breakdown. Like we do it together. We haven't actually played with each other for a while, but you do it where you make a decision at the breakdown. It's like, come on, like and then you just move on.
Do you get annoyed with each other with little comments like that, or does it help you? Does it reset you a little?
No,
you can get no. That's what I'm saying. You can't. That's the thing. Like you can't like, and that's where it's like you try not to overthink it and like not try and push emotions down. Like you are allowed to get annoyed at it, but as long as you take it on after like obviously a certain amount of time, you can take it on. But like there's no point pushing. Like you can get annoyed at each other. Like just because someone gives you some honest feedback, you can still get annoyed. Yeah. But then obviously as long as you take it on, get better. Like that's the whole process of it.
Yeah, well, look, let's talk about the training routine and match days because, a lot of people listening, we want to give them that peek behind the curtain of professional sport. And so what would a normal training week look like building into a match?
So we go from Saturday to Saturday. Saturday games, Sunday would be off. Monday would be kind of, I guess, an MOT sort of thing insofar as check how the lads are in the morning. Gym. It sounds like fish and a rice cake guy, actually. So yeah, gym. You do try and get all your reviews done, as in more team stuff. Ideally, you would have seen the stuff yourself on a Sunday, but yeah, get your team review stuff done on a Monday, and then usually it'll be a walkthrough and maybe a light jog through, for the plays that are coming up. So I think that point of, and this is the important bit, is usually around 11 or 12. That's the game gone, and this is where we start moving forward. And I think that's a really important part of the week, because sometimes you let things fester, whether you've won, and it's the same if you won or lost.
Yeah.
Like if you win, you think you're class. If you lose, you think you're awful, and it's never as good or never as bad as you think. So make sure at a point in the week, it might not be a Monday, some lads might drag it out, but hopefully usually on a Monday you have a point where you go bang and we're on to the next bit. You get a bit of a preview done, probably attack or defence on a Monday maybe. And then that leads into Tuesday, where it'll be the faster, more physical day, where it will definitely be previews. You'll do more of your legs stuff then. Preview for the week, and then the session will be usually a double session as far as like units. So forwards will do our lineups and scrums, backs will have a cup of tea. Class. No, backs with their kicking. It's actually a mental session if you get to watch. It is mental.
They're two different sports.
It's wild. he's not even denying it. And then so that'll be a physical day. Usually replicate kind of more the unstructured nature of the game. So when you're in fatigue and the ball's been in play a lot, that'll be the testing block for the week.
And is that, you mentioned earlier about almost two match days on a week, is that above match intensity?
I think ideally, you get to a point. Sometimes it depends.
Well, yeah, it changes during the year. So, like for example, especially the start of the year, like that will literally be. I think at one point a few years ago, we were doing 6 4-minute blocks of like it goes to like 110% of match intensity. So like you do 4 minutes where balls just flying everywhere, break 4 minutes. But then sometimes, like obviously, if it's like you said about this, if it's a Sunday to Friday turnaround, like that could be like a less.
Like two blocks.
2 blocks, yeah. So that's why Al's really good. Like you can alter that session, but yeah, it can be pretty tough.
Yeah, but it leads into the Wednesday, which will usually be off, and that'll be fully off. I mean, some lads will come in for physio and stuff, but you'll get that off. Thursday will be more of the structured sort of set piece, and that'll be the kind of get your tyres pumped up sort of session, like. You get the pads out and lads are running through pads, running through
legends.
Yeah, like thinking we're going to destroy them at the weekend. So that'll be more of a feel good, very fast, but short and sharp. Friday we always used to do team run, And that will literally be a jog through at the stadium, get a feel for it again, more so to just get the lads together talking. But I mean, Al brought in no team run, and I thought that was, at first, it really freaks you out because this isn't what it's meant to be like. Like, I can't relax before a game, or I need to be thinking about something, or I need to be running and doing something.
Well, traditionally, it was like a detail, last bit of detail, wasn't it? Exactly. And I'll sort of flipped that on his head and said, you should know your detail by the Wednesday.
You know by Tuesday, essentially. And the whole point is get away, get relaxed, and then...
Yeah.
And it was weird, because essentially, it can, if it's a nighttime game, it could end up being 48 hours away from, like, rugby.
Do England do team runs?
No, but they do. It's like a team. You go to the stadium, and to be fair, that changes. Like sometimes it might walk around the pitch talking about different things. Like we'll be in a 22, and the defence leader will talk about what we want here. But then we'll end up in a few skill games, and there's a group of like 8 of us, or 6 of us who play like football. Play football, tennis, which is actually it's quite a nice way to do it. And that's the thing. It's like there's so many different ways you can do it and still end up with a good result. Yeah. So it's like sometimes it's like the preparation. Obviously, like there are certain elements of the preparation you don't change in terms of your concentration, doing everything properly. But like in terms of like especially the last 24 hours, I feel like you can change that and still end up with a good result. So actually, what I've learned is kind of relax about it.
You say that though. Eddie had a funny one though. We were playing Italy away in Italy, and I had tonsillitis for the week. So I didn't train. I was bedbound all week, and I found out on Twitter that I was starting. So we flew out to Italy. I think I was kind of isolated still, and I managed to do the game was on a Saturday, so we went to a local tennis court and just did the walkthrough on the tennis court on the Saturday. I was like, I was blowing during that, and then we played Italy, and I don't quote me on it, but I think I got like record accelerations. In that game, it was like 60 or 70 minutes and they pulled me off. And Eddie was like, wow, like, this is amazing. Dickie then went up to him in the team meeting because they presented something, and Dickie was like, well, why don't we all just get a week off? And Eddie was like, no. And do you know how Dickie is? Like, he just couldn't get his mind around it. He just like had to have a week off now. So yeah, it's interesting. Like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah.
Disrupted prep, but had the game of your life, yeah.
Well, exactly. Sometimes I think it makes you concentrate even more in terms of like you're panicking. Actually, it switches you on even more. Like subconsciously, obviously you're always trying to switch on, but subconsciously thinking like kind of overcompensating. Yeah.
So you boys can turn it on match day. What does that match day look like for anyone who wouldn't know in terms of you waking up in the morning, but then actually at what point you flick the switch to being professional?
Depends if it's a nighttime game away.
White chocolate porridge.
White chocolate porridge. He's laughing because you must have some weird match day ritual that you probably can't say in a Franklyn podcast.
No,
so whatever you do when you first wake up, let's skip past it. And let's maybe focus on the point where maybe you rock up at the club or there's you've packed your kit back. Your kit bag's packed. Let's go from there.
No, to be fair, it kind of starts the night before. So like,
oh, what's wrong with you, mate? It takes that long.
No. So I don't know. I've been doing it for like the last year and a half now, 2 years, where I do like my little gym set. Well, it's quite a gym session. It's like I just go to the gym and do some power sessions. Like I do like a bit of bench, bit of like rows, squats, like something like that. Because it just kind of I feel like it relaxes me, just get this music on. Because otherwise, especially if you go on an away trip. Like I said, like sometimes having 48 hours off before a game, I feel like I haven't done anything. So it kind of switches me off mentally, but then it also makes you kind of feel like, you know what, I feel like physically ready as well. That's kind of my like routine at the moment now. I've got a kind of, especially when we first started, I had loads of like routines in terms of like left boot, left lace, right lace, loads of that stuff.
It's gone.
All gone. It took me one game to get rid of all of that because I was like, it got too much. But I was actually like, this it's not fun at all. Because then I remember one time I missed the light switch as I was leaving the house, and I hated it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. I'm going to get rid of everything. And it was Saracens at home, and we beat them. So I was like,
oh, that game.
Yeah. So then it all went. That was the game that it all left.
Because you missed the light switch?
Yeah, because I was like, well, I don't need it anymore. Like I got proof that I didn't need it, so I was like, that's me done. So now I love it. I love not having routine now. apart from the night before. But that's more like just to chill out, because sometimes I actually just get really bored the night before a game.
You know what, that leads things, let's move things along, because that leads us on quite nicely to sort of mindset and thought process. And so that was a pretty good example of overthinking to an extent, but something you felt like you needed. Do you still have doubts now, even though you've done so much in your careers, when you're turning up on game day?
Oh yeah, I'd say you're only human, really. Like, but I think the couple learnings I've taken is, and these are from the best leaders I've had, is whatever doubts that the team doesn't see it, and it doesn't mean you need to be uptight and hold everything, but in terms of like when the team see you, you're ready, and what you give up to your teammates is the most important thing. So it's not me saying bottle it up. Like, there are definitely channels in terms of ways you can talk to coaches and other players and sort things out. But when you're in the change rooms like that, there is zero doubt in anyone's mind. And I think that's a good way to be, insofar as, when you're trying to convince other people, sometimes you convince yourself, and you give yourself a feeling as well, that you're going to run through a brick wall, or when people look at you, they think that you're going to run through a brick wall. And I think that's the most important thing as a leader. But again, in terms of what I do, there's so many things you can think about. So I spoke to this psychologist, Andrea, and she was brilliant. And she was just like, well, let's narrow it down. Like, what do you actually think? Because I was getting to a point where I was nervous before games about a coach's review of me post-game. So I was like, she was like, that's crazy if you think about it. So like, what do you think you're worried about? And they're both effort areas. So for me, when I'm on the floor, is how quickly you can get up, because then no one can question that. And then when the ball's in the air, are you sprinting? And then either side of that, as soon as both those things put you in the game straight away. So if you're on your feet, you're looking for the next thing. If you're sprinting and trying to do something while the ball's in the air, you're thinking about doing the next thing. So it kind of automatically puts you in the best position, or the better positions you should be in. And I think that keeps you engaged. And honestly, if that's what you're thinking going into a game, then you've got nothing to be worried about, really, because you're worried about getting up off the floor and running. You can do both of those things without anyone. You can do it now. You can do it anywhere. Not saying that sounds a bit weird.
Go on, do it then.
You should prove it. But do you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't give you any worries. And then it's going back to, we played rugby since we were 3 or 4. It has to go back to instinct. Like, it's all on instinct. Everything happens so fast. So if you put yourself in a position where you just rely on instinct and that takes over, then you're not really thinking before a game.
Well, what about the detail element? Because I don't think that many people will know actually the amount that goes into the game plan, the strategy, and also all the calls that go alongside that, whether that be the line-out calls or just the phase play calls. Do you do anything in the week to make sure you've got all that detail element is just locked in and you don't have to worry about that? Or is there some games where you...
Well, that's why I think the Monday session comes into it, in terms of, like, if you can get it all done, if you can get it all done by Monday, and to be fair, we've been at Sale for 9 years now, the calls really haven't changed that much. So in terms of, like if we haven't got it now, I've got to say wrong.
No, they have this.
We thought it actually. Yeah, that is actually quite tough. But in terms of, like, if you
got loads of different ones, like, what is that?
But in terms of, like, you talk about preparation in the week, something that doesn't change is, like, so obviously you learn it on Monday. Come, like, Monday, preferably Monday night, but Tuesday morning, you should be fine with it. And then essentially, once you've got those nailed down, then you just go back to instinct. Once you're in it, it's all about instinct. They're the big ones. Like, Monday night, do your work early. So then towards the end of the week, it's all about yourself and just playing on instinct.
I think the toughest position you ever have to be in is actually the bench back row.
Oh yeah.
So we've got this. It should be an unwritten rule, really, that the bench back row should cover the lineouts.
So in terms of like, so let's say it's a 5-3 split. You have one back rower. That one back rower should learn 6, 7, and 8. Because let's say, I won't name a player, but there was one player who couldn't jump in the lineup, who we used to play with. And so then what it would mean is he would come on, and one of the starters would have to then, let's say he came on for number 6.
It's usually 6 is usually a jumping role.
6 is a jumping role. That person would move to 7, and the 7 would then do the 6 jobs. So the 7 would have to learn 6 and 7.
So you'd have to know multiple...
As a starter, but as a starter,
outs.
you shouldn't, because, like, your job is literally just to get the team in the lead, like.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, for the viewers, usually I think if it's a good week, you'd have 5, 6 plays. So you'd have to know the intricacies, and they're usually first and second phase. So off the line out, there'll be a tackle, and then what happens after that? Sometimes they go into the third.
Yeah.
Very rarely would they go fourth. But yeah, so there'd be 5 of those. Line-outs, I'd say there's about 20, 25. So if you go 5-man, they'd have about 3 or 4 different calls, which could be pre-calls. But then they could shift, and then you've got the checkout. So usually a checkout would be a very simple call where they'd go 1 or 2, or maybe bang and pop, and it'd be a front, middle, and a back, just so everything's there. So I'd say in one play you could be doing 5 different things, and then there's about 5 plays. So yeah, you could be doing 25 different things.
Well, you lost me at bangs and pops.
Yeah,
There's
I'm trying to say it simply.
There's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It can get really complicated really quickly.
Yeah, okay. Well, look, let's talk about setbacks as well, because you've both had plenty of setbacks in your time, whether it be injury, obviously, Ben, you're injured at the minute, whether it be losses in big games, all sorts. How do you stay focused enough and have enough belief to bounce back from them?
Yeah, this is one of, especially injury-wise, like a lot of people are like, oh, it's really hard, like, oh, it's tough. I don't think it's that hard or tough, because you have something to focus on. Let's talk about a big injury. You've got a big injury to focus on. Like there's no other thing that can distract you from being the best version of yourself. You don't have to worry about a Saturday game. Obviously, you want to be involved in helping out the team, but you don't have a big performance at the end of the week. Like all you have to do is have a pretty good attitude and a lot of consistency and a lot of love for what you're doing. So when they talk about like injuries and setbacks and coming back, I personally don't think it's the hardest thing. And people talk about, oh, I need a distraction or I need something to keep me going. It's like you don't need anything. All you need is like your injury, like to get back from your injury. Like you shouldn't have to play the piano. Do you know what I mean? It blows my mind. Like people are going, "Well, I learned a hobby." How have you learnt a hobby? Surely you should either be rehabbing or resting. Like there's nothing else you need to do. So for me personally, I just have this big belief where if you're injured, it's the best time to get better because there's nothing else stopping. Like you talk about 2 days after a game, you're tired. Chances are you can't go to the gym for a couple of days. You can't really get better. You just you know how it is. You sort of just maintain, and you have to almost get to the next game.
Decline.
Yeah, you have to kind of get to the next game. Whereas when you're injured, honestly, you're just doing that and that and that. You come back and you can easily be the best version of yourself. So that's what I have in my head. I know obviously the actual initial disappointment and upset is tough. Like you're missing out on tournaments, games, big moments, especially away days, or when you turn up to the stadium and they've got you doing different appearances with yourself. It makes it even tougher.
Yeah, we have to talk to you.
Yeah, that's when it really hits home.
Can we edit that bit out? They're the best bits, right? So, all right then.
To be fair, Tom's probably never had selection issues. So that's probably...
I was going to say, what's the biggest setbacks in rugby then? And personally, the stuff that you guys have experienced. Selection, maybe you mentioned them.
To be fair, the biggest one was when you guys were in Marbella after I tore my hamstring. That was a tough one. So we obviously lost. We lost the final, but it was really it was unbelievable watching the guys play. No, I did it the week before. We won the semi-final, but I tore my hamstring, and then it was that next morning when you guys after the final, obviously had to watch again. That was a pretty tough watch because you had messed it up for us.
Yeah.
But then obviously we went to Marbella, but I was sat watching you guys all go off on the bus on the plane. That was pretty dark. And then for the next week, because I literally just had my surgery, I was getting all the WhatsApp videos. I was sat at home, I was sat at home watching all these videos coming. I was like, "This is the worst thing I've ever experienced."
Sounds like a good trip.
Yeah, it was. No, to be fair, so I'll be honest. So my 4 years with Eddie was pretty tough, in that almost it feels. When you talk about it now, it almost sounds like you're feeling sorry for yourself, but maybe part of it was. But it actually felt like nothing I could do would get you into that England team. So I was playing regularly for Sale. Like loads of people would be happy with that. But obviously he's playing for England, and there was one where I was like, we were playing Worcester in the Prem Cup, and me and Bo were playing with a load of young lads. To be fair, I say young lads. I must have been like 19, 20, but it was like, this is gonna sound bad, but it wasn't a great team, and I was on the bus to Worcester where I was like, this is garbage. And it's like, and yeah, it did, but eventually it did take like just a lot of graft. Like 4 years of just kind of just turning up every day, just keep going. Then eventually you get your break when Eddie obviously left. Steve came in, and that kind of that's something like you. And look back at that, it's like it's nuts because that's not something I ever controlled. Like I never stopped working, I never stopped turning up. It just happened that the coach changed and I became more favourable. Which is I look back now, I still think it's nuts.
I think that's an interesting point because something I've noticed post rugby is you don't always get the results or things don't go the way you want. But if you understand the process and have that consistency, then eventually the tide tends to turn or something good tends to happen.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing. Is like actually you don't know when that break will happen, but you just have to you don't know. Like people you just have to dig in and just keep grinding and grinding and grinding, and then enough. If you do that for a long enough period, at some point, somewhere along the line, something may happen that puts you in a position where you can. Obviously, then you have to take the opportunity, and that's another conversation. But it's just about it was just digging in.
Yeah, I think that's great. I was going to ask you a piece of advice for academy players, for
younger
players.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's not even like a drop of wisdom. It's actually just mentally it can kill you. Well, not kill you, but it can
Jesus.
It can you just got to dig in and just keep going. And you don't know when it's going to happen, but you just have to keep going. And that's where some people obviously drop off. And then you got people like Roebuck. I think that's what Bevan's a great example of it. That's what you find. A lot of these lads in the England team now are actually people who've grinded, stayed in it, haven't gone abroad. They've decided to stick in. And then eventually you get your reward, hopefully.
But you would say that that's not an exceptional in terms of there's a small.
Yeah, it's not an exceptional talent.
No, it's a small consistent things done very consistently. You don't have to, be the best in the world or do the best things. It's probably things people don't really see. It's definitely the things people don't see. But doing them consistently, it all adds up, and leads me on to my question about exponential growth and investing.
We'll get to that. Patient.
Compounding interest.
That's the one. Compound interest. We'll get there, lads. Don't worry. Well, you know what? Actually, you're leading us on really nicely to the next bit. Let's just change that 1 minute to life after rugby, and you guys have got plenty left in the tank yet, no doubt. And is it even on your radar? Do you even think about what
especially on Tuesdays when we're mauling in the rain? That's when I look over the backs of kicking. That's when I definitely think about should I be here or not.
or seeing Bo in a new quarter zip.
Oh yeah.
You love just seeing him strutting around.
Mate, you've got your wearing one today.
I'm getting used to. I'm getting ready.
Yeah, you might have to change the jeans, mate. So you bought a quarter zip to prepare. Ben, a bit of work to do yet.
We'll get that.
But no, on a serious note, are you planning for life after rugby along this journey, or is it all still very much focused on rugby?
I think the ices are great.
No, we'll come on. Let's be serious. I think rugby is a very unique opportunity where you meet lots of different people, and you have so many different interests. You have so much spare time. You have so much time where you can invest your interest into loads of different things, whether it's housing, whether it's setting up your own property, that's housing, setting up your own business and different things, whether it's a gym or a coffee shop. There's loads of things, and obviously the changing rooms, everyone's always giving a bit of their food for thought in terms of what they're doing, so you naturally gain an interest in that sort of side of it. Well, I think
that's where Sam Hill convinced us to buy some silver.
When he was selling crypto.
Yeah.
Because he had seen it on Instagram. Never take financial advice from Instagram.
Or Sam Hill.
Especially Sam Hill.
But yeah, you naturally fall into that sort of category where you do. And I think, especially having a couple of injuries, and you start... you move with your missus, you may start a family. That those sorts of things start popping up earlier than I guess the natural population or your friends would. So it kind of hits you a bit quicker. So yeah, I'd say for me it's definitely something you think about regularly.
And I guess a serious question then, from your experience in it now and from what you've seen of players who have come and gone, do you think rugby as a sport or as an industry prepares players well enough to move on into another career, or do you think that's got to be more of an individual focus?
Definitely an individual. I don't think you can always have. Like, I think the RPA, they were in the other week, and it sounds like they're doing a good job in terms like, if I wanted someone to talk to, I can. Like, I don't think it's hard to, but it does take the individual. Like, you can't have someone holding your hand throughout the whole journey, can you? It does take a lot of motivation, which can be tough. You know, when you are playing rugby, and that should always be the main focus.
Yeah.
But it is about having good people around you. And I think in rugby, especially at Sail Sharks, we're very fortunate to have Franklyn on side.
We should finish it there, shouldn't we? Andy Chatterton is not sat in the background eyeballing the lads. He's not looking at us thinking, come on, get to the main event. We will get to Andrew Chatterton soon.
I think Ben did touch on a good point though, is like, and again, you can't speak on everyone's behalf because everyone's in different circumstances, but you do have to find it, and it's like rugby, I guess, the small things, you have to go and get it. And genuinely think about it and do it yourself. Like, no one can do it for you, really.
Yeah. My little nugget of wisdom in there is try as many things as you can.
Yeah, what did you try?
All sorts.
What's the weirdest thing?
No, I won't say that.
Franklyn.
He's sat over there. I love it that much. Oh dear. No, look, like, quite a nice way to sort of wrap things up there, lads. And I think let's go back to the Christmas questions to end on a nice loop. Apparently, ChatGPT says end on a nice loop. Yeah. On a serious one, what are you lads grateful for at Christmas time? Each other. Go on, say each other. I've got a good one as well, but I wanted to know. Each other. It's got to be each
other. Are these quick fire? No.
Is this meant to be quick fire?
Well, this depends how quick you are. Right, Ben's grateful for nothing. So let's move it on to the Sharks festivities at Christmas time. Do you have a Christmas social? I know you have a Christmas dinner. So the social's been and gone.
Yeah.
You have a Christmas dinner?
Yeah, Wednesdays.
So yeah, the Christmas dinner's on Wednesday.
Do you know who you've got?
Yeah.
Secret Santa?
Yeah. Who you got?
When will this be aired?
It'll be after.
Oh yeah, I've got Pete Allen.
Oh,
I asked for him as well.
Pete's the kit man.
That's a good one. He's gonna get a shampoo again. He hates it now when someone gave him shampoo. He's like chucked it in the bin last year. It's like,
I was trying to find a bald comb. You can get a bald man's comb.
Well, like a little buffer thing.
Yeah, you can get a bald man's comb and a bald man's what's it called? Anyway, it's just a plank of wood.
Classic.
So it's safe to say
he's not going to be happy.
and it's not going to be the most serious Secret Santa across the whole squad.
There was Ben Bamber.
Oh.
He got Johnny Hill. Johnny Hill got Ben Bamber a live budgie. Actually, I don't think we can say this. It's not very RSPCA friendly.
Say what you want.
No, because I think he's still got it.
He's still got it. It's a very sweet
he's still
story.
got it.
He had to get another budgie because apparently budgies should be in pairs. But Johnny got Ben Bamber a budgie. He opened it on Christmas at the Christmas thing, and now he's gone home with a budgie. He's got a cat, so he apparently went home. And his budgie obviously isn't allowed outside, so he's had to lock all the doors and obviously stop it getting eaten by the cat. On top of that, he's then had to buy another budgie, because apparently budgies, what are they called? Not soulmates, but they have to be with other budgies.
Yeah.
So he's got budgery. I don't know what they call them.
So he's still got two budgies?
Yeah, he's got the budgies. He's moved house. He's took his budgies with him.
Wow. That's hell of a secret Santa.
It is, isn't it? It's genius.
That's taken to the extreme. What about the Christmas song? I know you guys were, back in the day, the ringleaders for the
yeah, that's
song.
what...
Got a lot of ammo, I think. Sebi Crittner's doing it.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be funny.
Yeah,
tell the people who might be listening what the Christmas song's like.
So basically, the Christmas song... I'm looking at the camera, yeah? This one. So the Christmas song... I
thought he was going to sing it for a minute.
No, so the Christmas song is usually towards... it uses the tune of a normal Christmas song. So this year, Sebi said it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah.
But the lyrics have to be towards, like, within the Sail, and whether it's like rumours or...
Basically, it's used as an opportunity for young lads to kind of express their opinions of the place. Like when we did it, like we were getting into dimes about like lying about a new training ground. What else?
Like putting paint, but then you just put paint on the walls.
Yeah, it just gets into. I think one year it was getting into one of the coaches for being a bad coach. I think we got into Spraggy about being a bad coach. But basically, it's used as an opportunity for the lads, for the young lads who probably don't get a chance to express their opinions about the place, and it's actually it's good fun now.
It's genius.
Yeah, it is. It was one of the highlights.
Yeah, it is good, especially when as long as it's not you, it's fine.
Yeah, it can't be seen outside the four walls of Carrington. That's
well,
for sure.
I don't think it's been checked. I think
someone needs to check it.
Yeah, someone has to check it every year just to make sure it's like, because Michelle's in there as well now, because they come to the Christmas, and I think obviously there's a lot more female staff than there used to be.
And we have HR now.
Yeah, we have HR, so it has to be like...
So it will be HR.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Currys weren't involved in the creation of this.
I was not involved. I'll stay out of that now.
You've made yourself safe, lads. Well, look, massive thank you for coming along today and joining us here. I think it's been insightful. It always is with you lads, and a decent bit of banter there as well. So, Tom, Ben, cheers, lads.
Thanks,
thank you. If it wasn't too boring.
That's the big one.